Delegate, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the legislation that you've been carrying this session? I know you've got one bill working on debt collection.
Well, I filed about 21 bills this year, which is a little less than what I usually do. Kind of wanted to be a little bit more focused this year. I've actually gotten 7 out of the House, and for the first time, I think, usually I get 7, 10-ish something at bills out of the House, but more than half of them get killed in the Senate. But this year, strangely enough, I'm actually going to, I think every bill that I got passed out of the House is also going to get passed out of the Senate. And that's kind of neat. I've never had that happen before.
You say strangely enough. Why don't you expand upon why you think it's a little stranger that you think you'll pass the Senate now?
Well, I don't know, and we can speculate all day long. Some of my colleagues, as we banter back and forth sometimes amongst each other, are making fun of me a little bit, saying that I must have gotten a little too moderate because now the Senate, which is now controlled by Democrats,
right, exactly.
is passing my bills, when the Senate, which is controlled by Republicans, wasn't.
Right.
So I don't want to speculate too much about that. It's just fun to joke around sometimes. But there were some good ideas that didn't pass. I mentioned the 65% bill.
Right.
I have, once again this year, as I have the last, I think every year I've been around, sponsored the Keep Our Promise Act. I call it the Keep Our Promise Act because majority of the legislators have promised to get rid of the car tax, and so I think we should keep that promise. And in 2004, if we hadn't capped, in 2005, if we hadn't capped the car tax relief in 2004, we would have 100% phase out right now, because the revenue thresholds, the money that was coming in, would have triggered the 100% phase out. So I think we should keep that promise. I also had another bill that I really like that I filed again. Sometimes I file bills multiple years because I think they're
Sure.
good ideas, and we need to continue to talk about them, continue to consider them, and even if they're not going to pass, we need to continue to have that dialogue about them. Mm-hmm. And another bill, if you talk to small businesses, and small businesses are the largest employer in Virginia collectively. Mm-hmm. Small businesses are the largest employer in the country collectively. And the number one challenge that small businesses face is paying for health care. And if they want to provide health care insurance to their employees, we should encourage them and incentivize them to do that, because it's much better if they're doing that than the government doing that, because it's going to cost the taxpayers a fortune if the government has to do that. And so, I've sponsored legislation the last several years to provide a tax credit to those businesses that actually do provide health care insurance to their employees. So not only to ease their burden a little bit, but also incentivize them to tell them it's a good thing for you to make this benefit available to your employees, and it's in the public interest that they do so.
Right. How is that being received?
Well, again, that's one of those bills that gets killed because they say that they don't want to put the money towards it.
Sure.
But I think that's money very well spent.
Right.
The more businesses that are providing health insurance, again, the less people that are in Medicaid, Medicare, the less people that are without health insurance, that go to the hospital emergency rooms, that result in the $8 aspirins that in turn increase everybody else's health care costs. I mean, when you go to the hospital and you pay $8 for an aspirin, it's not because the aspirin cost $8, it's because the hospital is trying to make up all the costs of the people, the indigent and the people without insurance that are coming to the hospital that don't have the ability to pay.
Right.